What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for another Good Morning Tottenham, another game coming thick and fast as we host Brighton this weekend tomorrow, 12:30 kickoff. So it's going to be Tottenham to go first in the top four race tomorrow. It's important for us to put down a marker again this weekend, but in London, the sun is shining, the weather is sweet, Spurs fans in a good mood. Apart from last night, seeing West Ham go to the semi-finals of the Europa League, that did hurt me a little bit, I'm not going to lie.
It hurt you, did it?
Yeah, it did.
As long as they don't win it, it doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah, but you know what? With Barca going out, there's a big chance of them winning it.
Yeah, their chances have increased, but they've still got they've got some tough tests, and they need to. When in a final or in a semi-final, when it really gets to it, they're going to go over the line. We'll see. Look,
I back Leipzig to beat them, though.
Fair play to them. They're in the semi-final, but the people were getting worried it was affecting what was happening in top four, but it doesn't affect what happens in top four. Top four is Champions League. That doesn't change just because West Ham win it. So, look, if West Ham in Champions League next season, fair play to them. We'll see. But they need to win the whole. They're going to have to win the whole thing. If they're going to be there, so we'll see.
See the Barcelona game last night, like after the game when all the fans were celebrating, literally the whole stadium was Frankfurt.
Yeah, they had about 30,000 Frankfurt fans.
I think they're more.
They said 30,000.
Literally the whole stadium was a sea of white. It was nuts at the end. But anyway, that's enough of the Europa League. Let's get into the match preview. Tottenham, Brighton. As I said before, it's important as we're the first game to lay down that marker, let the other teams carry on, do the chasing, and hopefully not give them a hope in hell really to catch us. But it's going to be maybe a more difficult game than we were looking at it maybe a week ago, because they went to Arsenal last week and won. Do you expect a more confident Brighton coming to Tottenham this weekend?
Yeah, for sure. You have to. I think they changed a few things up, against Arsenal than they had in the previous games. I think that Caicedo made his debut in that game. He had a pretty good game. Obviously, Mwepu was brilliant for Brighton, getting goal and assist, and what a goal he scored. And I think they played really well. I do think Arsenal were still, in terms of territorially, were dominant. But they didn't really have the quality to break Brighton down until the last, a few minutes when they got a goal and they were putting pressure on. But Brighton were fairly comfortable other than that. And after losing 6 games and drawing one of their previous 7, of course, when you finally get that win, confidence will start coming back. And with Graham Potter, how he sets his team up, a lot of the time they're very difficult to play against. I know they lost 6, but before then they weren't losing too many games. They were drawing a lot of games.
Weren't winning any games either.
They were drawing a lot of games. It just meant that it just shows that they're tough to play against. They don't usually lose by more than a goal as well a lot of the time. So it's usually fairly close games. I know we've beaten them twice already this season, so we got to have confidence. But
both by more than a goal, wasn't it? Was it 3-1 and 2-0?
3-1 and 2-0, yeah. But you bring up their form, bring up the form table. That we got the graphic here. So they got that win. They've only got 3 goals in their last 5, with 2 of them coming against Arsenal. Conceding 7. Obviously, we're scoring goals for fun at the moment. That's on average 3 a game, 15 in our last 5. But we have conceded 5, so usually conceding a goal a game. Their away form has been home and away. They've been woeful of late, but yeah, I think that result against Arsenal 100% give them confidence, and they got good players. I think Trossard's a good player. Obviously, Lamptey didn't start, but he's a good player. I think I like Lewis Dunk at centre back as well. Obviously, Mwepu was really good against Arsenal. So, and Bissouma, obviously Bissouma's a brilliant centre mid. So you can't take it for granted that we're going to turn up and it's just going to be an easy game. We've got to make sure that we turn up with the right attitude. But if we do that and make sure that we're outworking them, then I'm sure we'll have the quality to open them up more times than Arsenal did.
Yeah, and obviously since Antonio has come, we have played them twice, like you say, and beaten them twice. And you say probably both of them quite convincing. I know in the one in the home game in the Cup, Bissouma played really well that game. But apart from that, I thought they were pretty poor that day. And when we went down to the Amex as well, it was quite a convincing win, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think by and large, you got to remember in that game it was fairly close before. I I know Kane missed an open goal, but it was from a big mistake, wasn't it, from the defender? And then it was pretty tight. It didn't look, we weren't exactly opening them up at will. And then we got a stroke of luck, a shot deflects in off Romero, and we go 1-0 up. And then from then on, we were comfortable, and we went on to get a second. But it wasn't the easiest game before that goal. So, you know, Brighton can be quite a solid team, and they like to play three at the back as well, so probably going to match up our formation. And they also usually like to play with two strikers, and we saw how we struggled against two strikers in the first half against Villa with their pressing system as well. So that does worry me a tad in terms of just tactically. But I'm sure that as soon as we start finding spaces, and especially as the game wears on, the spaces will open up massively for us, and then that's when we can really hurt them. So if we can get a goal or two in the first half, and force them to open up those spaces, that'll be a massive advantage.
Yeah, obviously, the quality that Villa bring, I think, is much better than what Brighton have in their squad, you know, with the Coutinhos and the Ramseys and the Ingses and the Watkins. But yeah, Brighton can pose their threat on the day. But when you're looking at the kind of head-to-head between the teams, the last 5 games, we'll bring on that graphic. You know, at home, the history books tells you that it's going to be Spurs to win and both teams to score. 3-1, 2-1, 2-1 in our last 3 home games against them. Have we dropped points against them at home since they've come back in the Premier League? I don't think we have we?
No, not at home.
We've won every game, haven't we?
Yeah, we've won every
it's
game.
It's usually away when we really struggle against them. So I'm looking at this game, and look, obviously there's no easy games in the Premier League, but I'm looking at this game thinking that we have to take authority early on, and we have to show them what we've shown them every other time that they come to our stadium and beat them pretty well.
Yeah, and I think as well, playing before Arsenal as well, for it feels like we're always playing after Arsenal recently, isn't it? I can't remember the last time we played before them, but I think...
Well, the last time we played before them was last week when they played Palace.
Right. We have to make sure that we're putting them under pressure, because if they, especially with their struggles they had against Brighton last week, if we turn up and give a convincing display and a convincing win, that will hopefully down their spirits going into their game against Southampton. They're going to have to be up for it if they're going to go there and take 3 points against what can be a tricky side, although they have lost their last few games. So I think it's very, very important we throw down another marker, and we just got to keep throwing down these markers up until it's mathematically impossible, because that's how we get through this race and make sure that we're in the top 4. We can't take any prisoners. We don't want to leave the door open and give them a chance to capitalise. And if we drop points in this game, everyone's going to be saying, oh, Tottenham inconsistent, this is what they do, they can drop points in any game, you can't trust them to get wins. So we have to make sure we shake off that mantle, get the win tomorrow, and that'll be a massive psychologically, that could be big in the top 4, especially with Arsenal playing a bit later.
In terms of Graham Potter, do you think, obviously you're a big fan of Graham Potter, do you think that he's taken Brighton as far as he can now?
Probably, unless they're going to really invest in signings, and they obviously have the team they're never going to spend 50-60 million on players, which would really bring along Potter's project. But I think are Brighton ever going to be higher than just like a mid-table team for the foreseeable future? Probably not. And last season, they obviously were very unlucky in a lot of games. So they finished lower mid-table. This season, they started the season brilliantly. It looked like they'd shaken off that XG mantle where they win on XG, but they lose the game. But I think they won like 5 or they won like 6 of their first 7 games this season. That's probably where a lot of their points have come from, to be honest. That's just that period. But it's going to be hard to keep that up with the team, with the players Brighton have. You're relying on Danny Welbeck and Maupay to get you goals. And I think Maupay's done his best, but he's never going to be that 20-goal-a-season striker they need. And Welbeck has always been consistently an average finisher, hasn't he? Throughout his career, he's never been a good finisher, Danny Welbeck. So I think I think it's difficult for him to take it any further than he has at the moment. The best they could really hope for is a top half finish. Top half is brilliant for Brighton, let's be honest. That's
and they were booing the team off when they were like 7th in the league or something.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think I don't know what they expect. I think their team they have some good, decent players, but they're not going to be any better than what they're showing at the moment. And I think if they were to decide that they could get better than Potter, I reckon it would be very similar to other managers where, that you think that, like, for example, like Alan Kirbishley, he was like mid-table for like 10 years or something with Charlton, and they thought finally, oh, you know what, we're a bit better than him now, let's try and improve. They got rid of him. They've never been back in the Premier League since. And I think it could be similar if Potter ever left Brighton, that they would go on a bit of a decline.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Bring up the next graphic, which is the team which could be facing us. Obviously, do you think this is the formation they're going to go with? A 3 centre-back, like a 3-5-2?
Yeah, I mean, they've been in their run of 6 defeats. They've kind of been what do you call it? Not practicing, but trying new formations out. They've gone with 4 at the back, gone back to 3 at the back. They've kind of been just trying them out because nothing's been working.
Is Potter the new Tinkerman?
He's had to be, because nothing's been working for him recently. So he's just trying to change things up. And he went back to a back 3 on Saturday, and that finally got them some joy against Arsenal. So I'm expecting them to carry that on, go with the back 3 again. And with that, Villa, as I said, they had 3 in the middle and 2 up front. And that caused us problems. I know the quality was different, but it was a lot of it was tactically finding spaces in behind Bentancur and exploiting that, and outnumbering us in the middle a lot for the first half as well. So they couldn't. Then maybe they'll see that as a blueprint to try and hurt us and follow suit. And with their pressing system, and Brighton can be a very good pressing team when they're on top of their game. And with if they do have renewed confidence, that's something to watch out for. But in terms of quality, you look at that team and you think, there's no one you're really specifically worried about. Maybe Trossard, but he's a bit inconsistent. Basuma's obviously very good in the middle, but there's no one who you're thinking we should have problems dealing with them. You know what I mean, on an individual basis. But it's all about their system. They can play pretty decently within their system, but other teams have been able to figure them out recently, and we just got to make sure we're on top of our game. And if we're confident, we're sharp, there's only going to be one winner. But if we come into it with lethargic, turning up thinking we've just got to turn up and win and it'll be easy, then you will come into a bit of trouble. And I think maybe Arsenal, I'm not sure they took their eye off the ball, but they were tinkering a lot. I don't know if they really believed how difficult it was going to be against Brighton last week, and I think maybe that was part of the problem.
Yeah, because they were on a really good run before that Crystal Palace game, and that Brighton at home was probably one of the best fixtures that they could have hoped for. Either Brighton at home or Norwich at home were the 2 most off-form teams in the Premier League. And yeah, I think you're right. They probably did take their eye off the ball a little bit. But going back onto that Brighton team, are you worried at all in terms of them beefing up the midfield with 3 men in there, with Mwepu, Bissouma and one other against our 2-man midfield?
Yeah, that's something that we have struggled with occasionally, especially when Winks has been in there. We've definitely struggled with it. When more about when Bentancur and Højbjerg are there, I think they cover enough ground where you don't really see the problems. It was good when we had Doherty there, because he could also step into midfield and provide an extra man. With him gone, Emerson doesn't really do that much, does he? He likes to stay wide. So but Kane also likes to drop in, so he also becomes like an extra man sometimes. That helps. But they have got a very energetic centre midfield. Bissouma, Mwepu looks like he can run all day and night, doesn't he? The way he plays.
He was brilliant against Arsenal. Both of them were, to be fair.
He was fantastic. I don't know who usually the third one is, or maybe Gross or some Lallana, but he's injured, so I don't think it's going to be him. McAllister likes to play in the hole a bit further up. So Caicedo, I know, made his debut against Arsenal, so maybe he's going to be that one. And if them 3 play, it's not going to be easy to, especially when we have the ball, to make sure when we're opening up the right spaces, because they can cover a lot of ground. So that is something definitely to watch out for. But if we're smart about it, and maybe it could be even a case of allowing them a bit of possession to invite them onto us, and then, or even playing it short, drawing them out a bit, like we're very good at doing, and then hitting them very quickly when the spaces open up. That's going to be a lot of the places where we get a lot of joy from. Because Brighton, as much as they're not very good at scoring, they are a brave team in the sense that they don't usually sit very deep. They like to play with a lot of possession. They like to press. They like to press you. and that's maybe where they're coming unstuck. Maybe they've been a bit naive recently in terms of how they've played, and they've been found out a bit, and maybe they'll come with a bit of pragmatic approach. But I don't see them as a pragmatic team, Brighton. I see them as a team who are brave on the ball, and maybe when you're so brave without the quality, that can be where you get unstuck.
Bring up the next graphics, the ones to watch. Obviously, Mwepu's in there. 3 goals, 5 assists. I mean, I was shocked when I saw that because the first time I saw him was against Arsenal and I was blown away. I thought he was so good in that game. And then obviously Match of the Day did a whole segment on him, didn't they? The other player there, I think that's McAllister, is it? 4 goals, 4 assists.
Yeah, Alex McAllister, decent little player.
Yeah, who's, slightly on form recently. So there are players to watch out for, aren't there?
He's
in
an
that
international,
Argentina, yeah.
Yeah, Argentina international.
One of those Scottish Argentinians.
Yeah, it's funny. McAllister playing for Argentina, you wouldn't think it. But to be fair to him, yeah, you got to be, look, the talent Argentina have, you have to be somewhat of a good player to get into their squad, even if it's a one-off thing. And I remember he said in his, he was talking about his time over with Argentina, and he said that they were calling him well, they speak Spanish today. Is it Spanish they speak? Yeah, must be. He said
so,
they were saying in Spanish they were calling him the little ginger or something, and he said he didn't like it, and Messi had to come and not protect him, but tell him look, stop calling him that. He doesn't like it. He said it felt so good having Messi back you up, something like that. It's unbelievable. But he's a good little player, McAllister. I don't think he's a player who we should be looking at to sign or anything, even though we do need a number 10. But I do think he's been decent, and he's young as well. McAllister, he's 22 or something. He's a good little tricky player, and if you don't watch him, then he can hurt you. But he's one where you can, Romero will eat him for dinner kind of thing, if he gets anywhere near him.
And Romero will know him well as well.
Yeah,
spending time with him in the Argentinian camp. All right, so
to be back on Mwepu, what a brilliant performance against Arsenal. He's actually, I've seen him a few times, and he's looks like he has so much running in his legs. It's unbelievable.
Would you consider him for Spurs?
I don't know about that. It's a bit early to say. He's
when
played
did he
well.
Join? Did he join in January?
No, he's beginning of the season, I think.
Right.
I think he joined. It looks like it does, at the face of it, look like another good bit of scouting from Brighton, which they rely on, isn't it? Because, as I said, they're not one to spend big money, so they have to rely on good scouting network and finding unearthed talent from other leagues, which teams aren't really well versed, and they get a lot from South America and stuff, don't they? They signed that striker in January, didn't they? They had a really good record in South America, and they never play him. I can't remember his name.
I'm not sure.
They did sign someone, didn't they, in January?
Yeah.
They signed a striker, and they never play him. I can't remember his name. But they rely on that good scouting. But Mwepu's one who's definitely going to be riding a wave of good form after that performance. And what a goal he scored with half volley.
They signed him for 20 million.
Who, Mwepu?
Yeah, from Salzburg.
Oh, so maybe he's not the... No, but he's not the striker, is he?
No, I'm just saying. They signed him for 20 million.
Salzburg have a good...
They signed a striker from Union SG, who are top of the Belgian league, called Undav. He hasn't played much.
They never play him. He had a good record in the Belgian league. Maybe he's not up to it. But in Mwepu, Salzburg have a good conveyor belt of talent, don't they?
They've got a massive conveyor belt.
And so signing him from him shows he probably is a decent player, and he's showing at the moment how good he can be. But I think as well, Arsenal, for example, for that first goal, I know he got the assist, but he had the freedom of that right-hand side to pick someone out and have all the time in the world, and he won't have that on Saturday. No,
definitely not. But let's hope. Well, in terms of the Spurs, who are you backing? I know we're going to do our predicted lineup a bit later, but do you think that Emerson is definitely going to start this weekend? Or do you think maybe Sessegnon could be moved over to the right-hand side?
No, I think Emerson has been all right past couple games. Actually, I don't think he's going to want to damage confidence by dropping him without reason, without cause. So I think Emerson definitely gets the shirt. Emerson... it wasn't his goal, but he kind of claimed it, didn't he? That goal in the FA Cup, and it took a massive deflection, and he ran over to the bench, cupping his ear, didn't he? He had a point to prove. That was against Brighton, wasn't it? So I don't think Conte's going to have any reservations playing Emerson in this game. He'll play him, but he's going to have to show even half the ability in the final third that Doherty showed. You know what I mean? Because at the moment he's been again very good at on the right hand side, covering a lot of ground and getting in good areas, but his quality in the final third and decision making and vision hasn't shown to be the best, I should say. So I think he has to. Hopefully, he improves on that massively if he's going to keep his place in the team. Otherwise, I don't think Conte will have any reservations about putting Szczesny on there in the future.
We've got a comment here saying Undav got loaned back to Union SG as Tony Bloom, the owner of Brighton, owns both clubs.
Right, that's why he never plays. So maybe it's one for next season, is it?
Yeah, I never knew that he owned them as well. They're doing really well in the Belgian league this year. They really are. But anyway, what's our score predictions going into the game tomorrow?
I think, given that they're going to be confident, I do think they'll come and they might get a goal. But I do think as well that the form we're on, the momentum we have, should see us through, and the quality we're playing with, even though Doherty's now injured, which will be backing Emerson to step up. So I think Reguilon comes in on the left wing back, and I think we win the game 3-1. I'm sure there's going to be many moments where we're opening the door with Kane and Son in that form, and Kulusevski as well. I think we should have too much for Brighton, and hopefully if we win early in the day, that should throw a gauntlet down to Arsenal saying, all right, what can you do? And hopefully that the pressure gets to them again. But I'm going with a 3-1 win.
Yeah, it's interesting because we usually do concede a goal to Brighton at home, but we did go to the Amex a few weeks ago and did keep a clean sheet in a 2-0 win, and I'm backing us to keep a clean sheet again. I mean, I said earlier on in the week in the podcast, I said 5-0. After that, I said 4-0. Last night, they asked me on Shelfside Spurs. I said 3-0. So
going down and down.
I'm going to stick with 3-0. I'm not going to go any lower. And I actually think it's going to be a big one for Kane this weekend. I'm going for Kane hat-trick in a 3-0 win, yeah.
Wow, all 3 goals.
All 3 goals for Harry Kane this weekend. I think... he's gone the last 3 games without scoring a goal, but obviously he's been brilliant either way. So I just think he's going to get on the score sheet and cause those Seagulls a bit of a nightmare this weekend. So that will really lay down that gauntlet to Arsenal and to the teams for chasing that top 4. And what do you think goes through Arsenal's mind if we do win that quite convincingly?
Yeah, and I think they look at it and we've seen the pressure, how it's been getting to them recently, and if they see no let up in Tottenham pressure and they see another convincing win against a team who they struggled badly with last week and even lost the game, I think that negatively affects them. And I'm hoping they're watching. As I said, there's nothing more demoralising than watching a team hoping they drop points and then winning convincingly. And that you just lose all hope, and knowing that you have to win to keep pace, let alone because there's a very difference in psychology winning a game to overtake an opponent or winning to extend an advantage and winning just to keep pace. That's always...
We've been there many times, haven't we? And
it's always a lot more difficult psychologically. So I think it definitely increases the chances of Arsenal dropping points if we win. I really believe that.
Do you think that, someone just mentioned it in the comments here, but I was about to ask you the question. Do you think if we win and Arsenal lose this weekend, is that the race over? With the fixtures Arsenal coming up?
If we win and Arsenal don't win or lose?
Either way, let's say lose.
I mean, it'll need a miracle. It needs a minor miracle at this point. If they, yeah. I mean, I guess you always got to look at United. So also, they're 6 points, aren't they, United? So they got Liverpool on midweek, don't they? Is the race? I wouldn't say it's over because you don't want to take your eye off the ball, but I would have to say
firm favourites.
It would
massive favourites.
You'd have to. You can't it would be a stage where you can't ignore the reality that it looks very likely we're getting top 4 if that happens. If they lose that. And I think I think the chances of it being over before the North London derby increase massively.
Yeah.
If that was to be the case this week, but you got to remember as well, if Arsenal, if they win on Saturday, and I know that they Chelsea is going to be a tough game, but they do have that game in hand midweek, so all of a sudden they'll go into the game with good feeling, won't they? And they beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge last year. I know it was a lucky game, but they did win. So they might be feeling all of a sudden in a week's time you could be looking at us being level points with them if they win on Saturday, however
Yeah,
unlikely that scenario is.
I am a lot more confident about that Chelsea-Arsenal game as I was before because, Chelsea weren't playing well. But since that 4-1 loss to Brentford, they've actually been really good, haven't they? Obviously beat Southampton, was it 6-0? Then they deserved to beat Real Madrid and just about Real Madrid got over the line there. So I think that Chelsea are going to end the season quite strongly.
No, I do agree with you, and I don't believe that Arsenal are going to win. All I'm saying is, even though we could win and go 6 points clear of them before they play, there is a possibility, there is a world where we could be back level on points of Arsenal by the next time we play a game, and that's out of our hands. We just have to rely on them being as bad as they've been in the last two games, and we'll see how they play, because maybe it is entirely possible that Arteta will have a rethink after he completely overthought last game, and he might have find a new way to get a different
rethink
balance.
to underthink.
Exactly, and I think because Lacazette apparently didn't trade last couple of games, so maybe it's a case of they put Martinelli up front and they look a lot more effective. You know what I mean? Because he's a good young player, Martinelli. All of a sudden they start looking a lot creative again. So I wouldn't say it's over yet, even if we win on Saturday. But if we win and they drop points, man, is it looking bad for them?
Yeah. All right, well, that is our match preview for the game tomorrow, 12:30 kickoff at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Let's have a quick word on Sean Dyche before we move over to the press conference. Obviously, he got sacked today from Burnley, which I thought was very weird timing. Obviously, they're playing tomorrow, right, Burnley? So why would they sack him today when they're playing tomorrow ahead of a double game week as well? It doesn't make sense to me.
They said they released a statement saying they believe that sacking Dyche is the best thing to do in terms of trying to stay in this league. They don't believe that Dyche had it in him to keep them up, seeing as he's done it so many times. I don't. To be fair, have they ever been in a position this bad at this late in the season? Maybe not. But considering he has done it so many times,
Dyche has worked miracles there for
I was
years.
about to say, surely you got to give the look, even if you do go down, surely you have to give him the opportunity to try and save the situation. Has he not earned that? You would have thought he's earned that right to do it, and he will probably believe in himself. But things haven't gone right for Burnley this season. As someone said, they've only won 4 games this season. I know they've drawn a lot, but still, that's nowhere near good enough for to stay in the league. So maybe they've done the right thing, but it is with 8 games to go. Learning a new system and all that, and getting a new manager in. It's all a very
who are they going to go for? Big
process.
Sam?
I don't know. Apparently the goalkeeping coach and assistant manager, and apparently they also put Ben Mee in the group of people who are taking charge on Saturday, which is very strange. I don't know why they put Captain Ben Mee in.
Player coach,
which is very odd. But I think that we might look at this decision, and look back at it and think this could be the decision that has doomed them. In a way.
Yeah.
I remember once.
They did look pretty doomed before that.
I remember once, it's very similar. I remember when, I can't remember who was man. I think Houghton was manager of Wolves. Was he manager of Wolves? And
Chris Houghton.
Was it Houghton? He was manager of Wolves once, wasn't he?
Don't think so.
Who am I thinking of?
Chris Houghton was at Norwich. He was at...
was Chris Houghton manager of Wolves? I think he was at one point.
Really? I don't think he was.
I might be wrong. Who am I thinking of?
Chris Houghton was at Brighton.
No, he was manager of Wolves. Who am I? I'm thinking
Norwich,
of
Birmingham, Newcastle.
Who am I thinking? There was. I can't remember who it was. Maybe it wasn't Houghton, but there was a manager.
Wasn't it? You're thinking of Houghton at Brighton, aren't you?
No, I'm not thinking of Houghton at Brighton. I'm thinking of I just remember very clearly the season. It was Wolves. They were 10 games to go in the season. They were hovering just above the relegation zone. And I think it was in 2012 or something. They sat their manager because they thought they could get a new manager bounce and keep him up. And they ended up getting Terry Connor, who was their assistant, taking over the rest of the season. And they ended up getting far worse than they were even under the previous manager. And you're talking
about Mick McCarthy.
It was Mick McCarthy, not Houghton. And they end up getting so much worse, and they end up finishing near bottom because of that decision. And they might have had a chance had they kept the manager. And as I remember as well, what wasn't it? A couple of years ago, Nigel Pearson took over at Watford. They had an initial bounce, and then they lost a few games, and they sacked him with 5 games to go because they thought they could get a bounce, and they ended up losing all 5 games and going down. And I feel like Burnley, they might have a chance with Dyche winning a few games, but without him, are they going to be able to implement a new system and a new way of playing and changing things up in such a short space of time? I don't know. It's going to be difficult.
Well, only time will tell with Burnley, but their fate does seem a bit doomed right now. And
But
I
look,
think
it could be an inspired choice.
could be, but I mean, I can't see it. I mean, I think Sean Dyche is probably the best available person that could be at that club, especially a person who knows the club so well. And if I'm Everton, I'm probably looking at that and thinking Sean Dyche for Everton next season.
Next season, I don't think that if Lampard keeps him up, they'll keep it, don't they? They're not going to sack him, are they?
Yeah,
Or maybe
I
they
would.
will.
I would.
Yeah, I probably
would.
would. He hasn't improved them whatsoever. They've got so much worse. They probably would be. I reckon if they would have kept Benitez, they'll be well clear of relegation.
I
by
agree.
now.
I agree.
And
Look, I think Dyche is a good manager, and I think that he's shown a lot at Burnley. And I think a lot of the times over the past few years, he's been touted for bigger jobs, hasn't he? And he's always stuck with Burnley. And I think maybe it could be a good fit, him going to Everton. And I also think the style of the brand of football he plays at Burnley, he's been trying to move away from that for the past couple of years. So
it's just impossible, isn't it?
But maybe it proves that that's not the only way he can play.
It's a bit
And
like
maybe
Stoke when they had a certain way of playing under Pulis, and then they brought in Hughes. Well, they called him Stoke Alona, didn't they? Brought in Bojan, and they brought in all these former Barcelona players. And now look at them; they're in the Championship for years now.
Yeah, exactly.
Similar.
So maybe Dyche was a bit wrong to try and move away from that brand of football. But I think that he can go to a bigger club, like let's say in Everton, and thrive there. I really do.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I think he has probably earned a bit of a bigger job than Burnley, but is he Everton level? I've got a feeling he would go there and they would hate him.
Like Big Sam.
Yeah.
But I think he's better than Big Sam.
You reckon?
I think so.
Why?
Why do I think that? I just think that the job he's done for Burnley on a consistent basis over the last 10 years, I think it's been a brilliant job.
Better than what Big Sam did at Bolton?
Well, that was a long time ago now, though.
Still, he did a very good job there.
It is a good job, but it's a long time ago. Jose Mourinho was at the top of his game.
He was at West Ham as well. He did a decent job. Allardyce.
They didn't like him there.
Yeah, but he was there for a good few years. He brought them up, and I remember there was that season with what's his name? Enna Valencia, and what's the other guy?
I get that. But look, he did a really good job at Bolton, got them European football, right? After that, he was just a saviour for clubs, keeping clubs up. I think Sean Dyche can do a bit more than that. Just
Really?
save clubs.
Interesting. I'm not so. I mean, well, I guess we have to say I'm not so 100% sure on that one.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what his next job is. But anyway, that is our take on the Sean Dyche situation. Let's move on. Let's talk and let's see what Antonio Conte had to say in the press conference yesterday.
Afternoon, everybody. We will start with a broadcast section that's got no embargo, followed by an embargoed section of 10:30 p.m. on Friday, please. No live tweeting in the broadcast section, and please raise your hand to ask a question. As always, we'll start with team news from Sky and then ask for a maximum of 2 questions per journalist. Obviously, given the manager's situation this week, we will try and wrap it up relatively swiftly, but we'll try and get through as many of you as we can in the time we have. Becky Williams from Sky, would you like to start us off with team news, please?
Good afternoon.
Are you there, Becky? Becky, do you want to start us off?
But they're not listening because there's mute.
Becky, can you hear us? Hold on. Becky, do you want to start us off?
Sorry, have you just come?
Becky, there you go. Yeah, do you want to start us off, please, Becky?
Hi, good afternoon. Well, it's good to see you in person. So you're obviously.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to everybody.
I just wanted to ask you, I mean, obviously you're there. What kind of an impact will you, having had COVID this week, have on preparations for the weekend?
But the impact that uh, I attended the training session, but from distance, and I had my staff, but I had my staff that they did a really good job, and after the game against Aston Villa, and the day after, I started to feel a bit of mild symptoms, a bit of pain in my throat, and I asked to have a COVID test, and it was positive. Yeah, but now I'm fine. I'm well, and for sure during this week was a strange week for me, and also for the players, because the players are used to have training session with me and not only with my staff. But it's okay, because my staff they are doing a great job. I attended the training session from distance, and yeah, I think on Saturday I'll stay on my place on the bench, and given the length of time my COVID test, I think that I can. I could stay. I could stay on the bench on Saturday.
That's sorry, that's something wrong with my mute button. That's good to hear. I want to ask you now about focusing on Matt Doherty and the fact that he's out for the rest of the season. What kind of impact is that going to have on your side?
Yeah, this is a really bad news for us, and you know very well the improvement, Doherty improvement in our team, and it's a pity. It's a pity, because to lose a player like him for the rest of the season is not good. It's not good for us, and if we had also Tanganga and then Skip, that they are not available for us. Yeah, and these are bad news for us. In one end, the other end, I think that now we have the solution to try to face to cope this situation until the end of the season. There are only 7 games to go, and Sessegnon is ready, and is in the squad. Then there is Emerson, Reguilon. Yeah, we have to try to cope in the best possible way until the end of the season. For sure, to lose players like Matthew Doherty and Tanganga, and also Skip, is not easy for us.
And finally, then, when I spoke to you a couple of weeks ago, talking about the top 4 and the fight to get into the top 4 in Champions League football next season, you said it was going to be a tough ask, and there was a lot of work to do. But the table's looking very different now. Are you feeling a lot more confident, I imagine?
Yeah, but I started to speak about our position, about that my team was able to stay into the race, not only in 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago. In the right moment, that I understood that this team was able to stay in this type of race. I said to you with honesty, and I said now, and the team is ready to fight until the end in this race. This race is not easy. It's very, very important, because to finish in the top 4 in England, it means that you reach a great result for the club. Yesterday and 2 days ago, we watched how important it is to play Champions League, how fascinating are these type of games, and for sure I'm sure that in my players there is a great desire, no? Great desire to be protagonist in this competition. But we know very well that there are other teams really strong, Arsenal, United, West Ham, Wolverhampton, that they are in the same race with us. But we want to fight. We want to fight until the end, and we'll see what happens at the end of the season.
Thanks, Becky. Vishali from PLP, please.
Hi, Antonio. Firstly, glad to see you're doing well, and you are going to be hopefully in the dugout on Saturday.
Thank you very much.
Secondly, in terms of the top four race, you are 3 points ahead of Arsenal, but you're just 5 behind Chelsea. Do you feel that there is a chance maybe that you could even make top 3 this season?
Could you reach third place this season? Because you're so close to Chelsea, can we make third place?
Can you repeat? Sorry, the question.
Yeah, absolutely. You're 3 points ahead of Arsenal in 4th at the moment, but you are just 5 points behind Chelsea. So do you feel that Tottenham could even push for a 3rd spot?
But I think that first of all we have to think to ourselves and to look to ourselves and not to the other opponent. And Arsenal has one game more in their hands than us, but there is not Arsenal in this race, and there is Arsenal, there is I repeat, United, West Ham, Wolverhampton. I think in this race you can finish first in this race if you don't make a lot of mistakes, and it's important to feel the right moment to push. For us, Saturday it will be a really important game because we are going to play against a team really strong. We played in the last period twice against them, but honestly, and in all 2 games we struggled a lot against them because they are well organized. They have a good players, a good manager. In the last game they won against Arsenal, and I watched the game, and they deserved to win. Not only not lucky, they weren't lucky. They deserved to win. For this reason, in this moment, it will be very important to don't make big mistakes, to try to get 3 points. Also, if you know very well that the game it will be very difficult against Brighton, but we are working very well. The players and my staff work very well. I have seen great focus in this week, and hopefully we'll try to get 3 points in this race Saturday. It will be very important to put pressure at the other.
And just one final question from me. And just going back to Matt Doherty, does he need surgery on his injury?
No, I think that the first visit with the doctor, and the doctor said that he can recover without surgery. But for sure, in this type of situation, it's important to have different opinions, and then to make the best decision. But we are talking about 7, 8 weeks before to recover, and for this reason his season has finished, and I repeat, it's a pity because Doherty was an important player for us.
Thanks, Vishali. James Savundra from TalkSport, please.
Hi, Antonio. It's now 4 wins in a row for your side. What do you put this consistency down to?
Yeah, and cross finger, but it's important. It's important when they arrive at the end of the season, no? And the last 10 games, in every league are very important, because in the last 10 games, and you can write something important or not. And to find the right consistency was really important for us. But we have to try to continue this way and to work very hard. I repeat, the game against Brighton, it won't be easy. It won't be easy, and I know very well. We are trying to give the right message to our players, and because for us is a really important game. And Brighton is doing very well in this league. They can play to enjoy, no? To enjoy the game, and for this reason, your mind is free, and to play football and to try to get 3 points. And we have to pay great attention because they are a really good team. We have the right pressure because we are fighting for a race, for a place in Champions League. And for this reason, we have to show that we are improving in all aspects, not only technical aspect, but also in the mentality, because a strong team has a strong mentality.
It was a brilliant performance from Kulusevski, Kane and Son against Aston Villa. On current form, are they the best front three in the Premier League?
I think the whole team performed very well. Otherwise, against Aston Villa, that type of game away with that atmosphere was very, very difficult for us to win. For this reason, I tell you that the whole team performed very well. For sure, when you have Harry, Sonny, Dyche in this form, is good for us. It's good for us because they are talented players, and but it's important to repeat the whole team, because the whole team lose, the whole team win, and we'll do the same next game.
Okay, and we'll finish this section with Alex from the BBC, please.
Hi, Antonio. You said about consistency and not making mistakes. So how important is momentum going into these last 7 games?
It's really important. It's really important because during a season there are many moments, no? Many moments that you have to feel the important moments during a season. And now for us is an important moment. In this race for a place in Champions League is an important moment, and not many games to play, only 7, and every game has to be a final for us. And you know very well that the importance of the game bring also pressure, but the pressure has to be normal for us, a normality for a club like Tottenham, for the players of Tottenham. And we have to cope in this way, and also to try to be good in all aspects. And because of this, now it's a good moment for us, and we are showing that we are coping very well with this type of pressure, with this desire to stay in this race. And now we have to continue. We have to continue and to play a good game, and with the difficulty that for sure we'll find on Saturday. Because I repeat, if someone thinks that Tottenham can't find difficulty against Brighton, I can tell you no. We'll find a big difficulty, but at the same time we have to show to be strong, to overcome this difficulty, and to try to get 3 points.
And you said about the Champions League games last night, seeing those matches, does it really make you miss the competition?
But you know very well that Champions League is a competition that every club, every players, every manager wants to play. And for this reason, it's important to have this great goal, because change your life. If you next season you are going to play in Champions League instead to play UEFA League, instead to play Conference League, or instead you play nothing in this type of competition. And this situation has to give us a great push and a great desire to finish the season the best possible way.
Thanks, Alex. Okay, so we'll move on.
All right, so that was every word that Antonio said in the press conference. Any real takeaways from you there?
Didn't really say much. I guess he was talking about how important it is that we get into that Champions League spot. The difference in Europa League, Conference League, and Champions League. Champions League is the one that all the players want to play in, and that gives everyone great motivation to try to the end of the season. But it's all about keeping consistency, making sure that we're not taking any game for granted. He was talking about Brighton, how if you think you're just going to turn up against Brighton and it'll be an easy game, then you've got another thing coming. So it's going to be a hard game. Yeah. But I mean, there wasn't too much interesting stuff being said, to be honest. He was asked about can he catch Chelsea, but he said we just got to focus on ourselves. It's not about anyone else, and as long as we focus on ourselves, then that's the most important thing. And I think that's spot on. And we know, look, Conte's been in these positions how many times now? Even when he's
not many to challenge for top four.
I mean,
no, I know. You know what I mean?
But even when he's not challenging for the title, he's always in the top 2 or 3, isn't he? In the league. So he's been here and done it so many times. He knows how it's done, and hopefully that experience can take us into this final stretch of games. It's going to be big.
All right, now it's time to start getting some guests on, and our first guest, Daniel Levy, everyone. I'm joking, it's Brian Daigle.
Whoever's in the back
You're on mute, mate.
In the comments. No, I'm not.
I can't hear him.
I can hear him.
Oh, I'm not plugged in.
I can hear you, Brian. You all right?
Okay, so whoever's in the back end said that comment as well today about me at my nemesis. I do not look like him. How dare you?
That was me, Brian.
I think Timmy needs to go to Ben needs to go to the bathroom. I think he's got his hand up.
How are we doing today, Brian? You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic. First of all, Happy and happy Passover to you, your family, and all the Jewish people watching, and happy Easter to everyone celebrating Easter.
And so to you, brother.
Where are you sending your plagues this year, Brian?
Oh, well, you know exactly where I'm sending them, but I won't put it on air.
We send them. We send them to the same place every single year, straight down to the Emirates, and that's exactly where they belong.
Yeah, I mean, I just before you. I've got to say that press conference. I mean, what genius questioning. One of the questions being, watching Champions League football, does it make you miss it? What a stupid question.
It's the question on everyone's lips, Brian.
Yeah, was he going to say, no, I want to go back into the Conference League, please. I want to go to Bratislava. No, of course not, to be back in the Champions League. But yeah.
But, Brian, he speaks a lot about, how we can't take any game for granted. But Brighton coming into this in shocking form, apart from barring the Arsenal game in the last game.
Yeah.
Is it possible that some of the players maybe do turn up to this game and take it for granted, or will Antonio would iron that out from them, to be honest?
I'm convinced Conte would have ironed it out now. I think the 4 wins back-to-back, the feel-good factor, everyone playing well. I think we've got a guy that will not let them say right now, you take your foot off the gas and take things for granted. It's not in Conte's mantra. I think he will be drilling in big time. Do not screw this up. This is a golden opportunity.
Yeah,
go on.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And you know, with Spurs playing, an hour and a half or 2 hours before Arsenal kick off, how important is it that we don't give them any encouragement? And how much will it affect them if they do see us win convincingly in a game that they struggled with last week?
Simi, I agree with everything that you said prior. With it being the game they had before, and then if we can put in a very, very convincing performance, it will send shivers down their spines, thinking, okay, they are meaning business, and they aren't letting their foot off the gas. And it's going to force them to have to try and win, isn't it? And they're going to have to work on their goal difference. If we can get a convincing win, what is it? We're 10 ahead of them at the moment. If we can get another convincing win, that's only going to impact even more. It's I think this could be the game where if we can get a convincing win, it's going to be the one that really puts the damage in. And I honestly think they're going to get a draw at Southampton. I've said it all along. I think they're going to get a draw. We'll get the 3 points, and that gap widens. It won't matter what happens with their game in hand.
Does it worry you, Brighton coming to Tottenham with a bit of confidence, or do you think it's going to be another demolition job this weekend?
They normally score 2 goals every 6 games, so they're sorted for another 6. So it should be absolutely fine. Yeah, listen, I think they're going to be a bit of confidence, but like you said as well, Ben, that guy that they did I was really impressed with is it Mwepu they did the focus on afterwards, and he said, yeah. I mean that performance when Match of the Day broke it down was really, really good. And he concerns me actually. When you were saying, would you look at him? I seriously would, because that was a great performance. But I just think that we're going to have too much for them.
But they off the back of a win against Arsenal, they come in because they lost 6 and drew 7 in their past 7 games before that Arsenal game. So they stopped the rot against Norwich with the draw. They got the win last week against Arsenal. So will Brighton feel like their fortunes are turning and maybe come into this game in confident mood?
They can do what they want and feel how they want. We're just going to smack them down. So I just think, honestly, we're going to have too much of it. We're just going to be too powerful for them. I think this is honestly going to be I honestly think this is going to be another 4-5-0. Seriously.
Are you worried at all maybe about the midfield battle with Bissouma, Mwepu and maybe one other against a 2-man midfield?
That could be the slight concern, but I reckon the form that Pierre and Bentancur are in, they'll just have too much about them. They just will. And then the way that Romero is performing and advancing forward, I think it's just another string to our bow. And I just think we're going to overrun them.
And obviously Harry Kane dropping deep as well.
Oh, that man at the moment, Jesus Christ, he is untouchable. He is untouchable. He is unplayable. And I think I'm going to do a bit of reverse psychology with myself today, because I said I think Kane's going to get a hat-trick last game and Son got it. So I'm convinced Son's going to get a hat-trick this time. Come on, Harry. So, yeah, I think Harry's going to get amongst the goals mainly tomorrow, please God. And I like having these early kickoffs. It sets the agenda, really, doesn't it? Gets the game out the way. Then you can just... the next game we've got again is it another Saturday or is it Sunday against Brentford next week?
It's Saturday 5:30, I believe.
Okay, so we've got the extended kind of superb. I like these early games. Well, getting up at 7:30 in the morning is always nice here.
Yeah. In terms of the lineup that we're going to play this weekend, obviously most of the team picks itself, apart from maybe the wing backs this weekend, with Doherty out injured. Do you stick with Emerson? And if so, who'd you put on the left?
I think it's going to be Reguilon on the left. I think Emerson has to start on the right, and that's by proxy. He's got to, in my opinion. And as much as I would like to see Sessegnon, I think it'll be Reguilon. I think it'll be Reguilon at the moment. I haven't heard this week how much further they've come on in their training. I don't know if they've been fully fit now, like if Sessegnon's right up to scratch. But I think with Reguilon getting minutes on against Villa, it's shown that he'll probably start.
Conte said in his press conference, I don't think he mentioned Reguilon, but he did make a point of saying that Sessegnon is fit to play. fit to start.
Oh, well, there you go. It'll probably be Sessegnon now. So let me just change that. Oh, we Sessegnon starting. But yeah, I think we'll just have too much. Yeah, on the I think Emerson will start on the right, and Sessegnon may play on the left. Yeah, I'm going to stick with Sessegnon. Final answer, like on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
You don't want to call a friend 50-50? Ask the audience.
I'm already on the phone to them. I'm talking to them right
now. What's your opinion on Graham Potter, Brian? Are you a fan of his, or do you think he's overrated by some in the media or
do you know what?
Social media?
Tim, when we went through the whole manager debacle last season, Brian Ireland and a couple of others were really singing his praises and talking not just about what he's done with the team and the style of football he likes to play, but a lot of people spoke about his degrees in psychology and all these other things. And I didn't want him. I really wanted at the time Eric Ten Hag. That was the one I really wanted. But you know what? The more and more people started talking to me about what Potter's credentials are, I could see if it had been one of those where it had been a project and it had been 3, 4, 5 years to get down the line, then maybe. But I wouldn't have him as Spurs manager right now. I think he needs to leave Brighton and go to another job and prove it a slightly higher team, and then people can talk maybe about a team in the upper six, or top six, sorry. But yeah, I think Tottenham would have been too soon for him.
Well, to be fair, I was speaking before when we were talking about Sean Dyche, that Sean Dyche could be a good manager for Everton, but I think actually Graham Potter would probably be the perfect fit for Everton, wouldn't he?
Yeah. For what they want to do, most definitely what for Everton want to do, he kind of fits the mould, doesn't he, Ben? But Sean Dyche, you know what? I think Burnley have been absolutely ridiculously stupid. That man has given them 9 years, worked miracles. The fans love him, and now it's just like, off you go. It's ridiculous, and he'll walk into another job come the end of the season. He'll walk into a job.
Yeah, agreed.
Do you reckon Burnley are doomed now after that, or?
I think so. I mean, I think it's very weird, like you were saying, Simeon, about putting Ben Mee on this coaching staff and just keeping the assistant. I think the whole of the coaching staff, apart from Dyche, have stayed, haven't they? For this game, at least. So it's just a weird one. It's just a weird one, and you could, and it was right, like you were saying, with Mick McCarthy and Wolves and everything. Trying to get the new man. Who's available? Who can come in right now and take a Burnley side? Play. Sure, it probably would. You know what? It would rule it out. Rule it out. We'd have to see, but I think that has put the final now in Burnley's coffin. Everton and Leeds Leeds are out of it now, but Everton have probably breathed a huge sigh of relief.
Yeah, you're probably right there. But back on the game, how do you see it going? Yeah. What's your score prediction?
So I started with you with 5-0. I'm going down, but I'm not going down as much as you. I'm going down to 4. I'm going down to 4-0.
Not 4-0. Not 4-1 for Bobby.
Oh no! See now, okay. Do you know what? 4-0
for Bob, Brian.
4-0 for me. 4-1 for Superman. Either one I'll take. Put it that way. Either one I'll take. Or you're 3-0.
All right. Let's hope we're right, and let's hope it is as resounding as we think it's going to be. Another big weekend in the Premier League. Let's hope we get off to a good start and lay down that marker for the filth.
Exactly. Let's lay down a huge marker for the filth and Southampton. Come on, James Ward-Prowse, be on fire, shoot from anywhere. And yeah, everyone have a great Easter weekend, or happy Pesach to everyone. And it may be Pesach, he may be Jewish, but he doesn't get away with it. So let me just do my exercises. And as always, Levy out.
See you, Brian.
See you later, Brian. Great stuff as always from Brian Daigle. Let's keep going. We've got a lot of guests to get through, and a guy who hasn't been on for a while, which is quite surprising, seeing as Ben Davies has been in the form that he's been in. But let's bring him on. Let's welcome Ariane. Ariane, how are we doing, brother?
Doing great. Everything's good. Ben Davies' department is good.
Life is good right now.
Life is great right now. Ben Davies is doing good. Tottenham is doing good. I'm in Istanbul right now on spring break, so I can actually make it to these. It is great. Everything is going fantastic.
I just imagine you just like falling asleep watching like a Ben Davies individual compilation highlights. Just like that's how you sleep.
Is there any Ben Davies individual compilations even on YouTube?
Oh, Ariel will be sure of that. Come on.
There are. I think the longest one's about 8 minutes. So I don't know who concocted that one. That was before Conte even came. So I don't know who concocted that one.
It was probably you. Yeah, you're probably having a good time right now on Twitter. Everyone's probably saying, "Oh, you proved us wrong this whole time."
That kind of happened at the beginning. No one's really talking about it as much, but people were like, "Whoa, what the hell? I don't know. Davis had this in his locker." And I'm like, I've been telling you.
Well, look, Ariane, big game on the weekend to make sure that we keep our standards in the top 4 race. Brighton, off the back of a very poor run, going away at Arsenal, winning 2-1, which surely should have given them some confidence. So, what are your feelings on the game this weekend?
I think it's going to be an entertaining game. I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to be a game that it's going to be like a classic. I think there's going to be a lot of goals, and I think Brighton are going to be up for it. I think the fact that they do have a little bit of confidence in them after beating Arsenal is going to play a role. They're going to come in kind of similar to Villa. They're going to try and press us off the park, and they're going to take the game to us. They're not going to try and sit back or do anything like that. It's not in their DNA. They can't even do it that well. So I think they're going to be trying to score goals, and we're going to try to do what we do best, and that is just move the ball forward and to have our front three kind of work the magic that they've been working. So I think this is going to be a game where both sides are going to be attacking a lot. And I think if Brighton have their shooting boots, it's going to be a high-scoring game. I really do. I think they're going to open up a gap maybe once or twice. And
I don't think Brighton own a pair of shooting boots.
I think sometimes they borrow one though, and that's some games they end up they end up actually putting a few in the back of the net. So if they end up doing that, I think we're gonna have like a pretty hefty scoreline. I think it's gonna be a game to look forward to. I don't know. I just have a feeling this is gonna be one of those games to look forward to. And when you look back, like not quite as good, but maybe like that Leicester 5-4 from way back when. So
yeah, but Arsenal might have been feeling the same though, wouldn't they, last week? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not quite as much because they had lost to Crystal Palace. And I think one thing that you have to take into account with the fact that Brighton did beat Arsenal is Crystal Palace and Brighton do seem to be Arsenal's bogey teams for the most part. Having them kind of back to back for Arsenal was kind of great luck for us because it does kind of screw their momentum. And hopefully that also carries on to Southampton, who I also have a pretty half decent record against Arsenal and us. Hopefully that does kind of they drop a few points. And also what I'm trying to say is because they seem to be their bogey team, maybe they're not as impressive as we kind of think they're going to be. It's just, I don't know if what I'm trying to say makes sense. Maybe Brighton are going to get a little bit of momentum on the back foot, but also at the same time, maybe it is just one of those Arsenal had a really frustrating display against their bogey team kind of thing. And then Brighton are going to go back to normal. We'll see.
Did you look at any of the Brighton team and anyone that worries you in their team, thinking wow, watch out for this guy?
Honestly, I think you guys already mentioned most of the players. Like Trossard is a really good player. Lewis Dunk is pretty solid at the back for them, and Wepu was absolutely brilliant. Even McAllister is a player that I've actually liked for quite a while. Like you said, not knowing that we should be looking to sign at the current moment or anything, but he can have his moments. He can work a little bit of magic if needed. I think that's mostly what Brighton's individual players are. They're mostly a bit of a system that really, because of Graham Potter has just made this really well-oiled machine with them that knows how to move the ball up, but then individuals constantly do let them down with, like you mentioned a little bit earlier, their finishing. They have a bit of a problem with that. So on an individual level, I'm not too worried other than maybe Leandro Trossard because he's really the only one that can work up a lot, something brilliant. I think if there's anyone that's going to just do something ridiculous to give him a lead, it's going to be him. Or, and Wepu did that against Arsenal literally last week, so maybe him. I don't think there's a lot of individuals to be worried about. We need to make sure we go out there as a collective because that's how Brighton play. If we, as a team, allow them to have a little bit of space on either side or in behind, that's when they're going to punish us because they, as a whole unit, can create the gaps where we allow them to. So we don't need to be really worried about some kind of random player doing something crazy, but we do need to be worried about not letting them have the opportunity to create chances as a team. That's what I want to I think we should focus on. this week.
In terms of the Spurs team going into it, I mean, most of the team does pick itself now, but with Doherty out injured, there are maybe a few question marks at wing backs. Who's going to start? Would you stick with Emerson?
I would stick with Emerson. He's not been like perfect or anything. Everyone knows that, but it won't constitute dropping him. Which if you do, his confidence is going to be absolutely shattered because and you will just absolutely ruin him as a player if you want to like bring him in at any other point. So doing that would be stupid. There's nothing really constitutes him being dropped. Like if Doherty was here, you'd say, okay, yeah, Doherty has to play. He's been brilliant. He's been much better. But, you can't justify experimenting over starting Emerson at this stage right now, I would say.
And on the left, who'd you go for?
I think I would go with Sessegnon. I would go with Sessegnon because even though Reguilon, we all love Reguilon, but I think Sessegnon has been very good every time he's come in. And, yeah, no, it wasn't him. It was Reguilon that scored. But I think every time he's come in, he's kind of been that same. He's had the similar improvement to Doherty. So I think he has, but Reguilon was okay last time he came. When Doherty got injured against Villa, he was only okay. He didn't really do anything that impressed me. He didn't do anything that like made me worried. But he was just kind of okay. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if Reguilon starts, but if it was me, I would set Sessegnon.
Do you think we need to be dipping into the market in the summer for a left wing back, or do you think we're all right in that department?
100%. And I want Filip Kostic. I want him. I absolutely love the guy. I think he's a brilliant player. I would love him. I've thought about this before. Filip Kostic. That's who I would want. I think if we get him in the summer, that would be brilliant.
The guy got 19 goal contributions in the Bundesliga in 30 games last season.
He's amazing. He's exactly what we've all been dreaming of on that left-hand side. He is exactly what we need in this Conte system. And I think I've seen reports a couple of times, and maybe not super reliable sources, that we've been looking at him, and I really hope it's true because that guy would revolutionize our left-hand side. He would improve our left-hand side as much as Doherty improved our right-hand side when he had an uptick in form. Maybe more. Probably more, actually. He's an unreal player. I rate him super highly.
So if we were, let's say for argument's sake, we do bring him in, who would you get rid of, Sessegnon or Reguilon?
That's a tough one because I would get rid of Reguilon for the homegrown stuff. But if I had to get rid of one, I'd go Reguilon because he's a little bit, they're both really young players. But Sessegnon's a little bit younger. I think he's got a little bit more potential, and he fills a homegrown quota. So,
but there are those injury problems to worry about with Sessegnon as well.
Yeah, you're totally right. That's tough because I think our left backs right now are both very similar quality. So picking which one leaves is honestly, it's kind of a shot in the dark. Honestly, I think just Sessegnon because of his homegrown. That's the only thing that's kind of honestly separates him.
All right, what's your score prediction going into it?
Like I said, it's gonna be exciting. I'm going with 4-2.
4-2.
A lot of goals.
Wow. Who's going to get on the score sheet?
I think it's going to be Kane. He's going to get 2, I think, and then I think Kulusevski's going to get 1, and then Bergwijn off the bench.
All right, love that.
Nice.
Ariane, always a pleasure to speak to you, my friend, and we'll see you soon.
All righty. Come on, you Spurs!
Come on!
Ariane.
Love that from Ariane. Love that. Let's keep going,
Got
guys.
a super chat here from George Georgiou. Says, watching shelf-side Spurs last night, didn't realise Ben was such a rebel. Always knew Sim was the sensible side of the double act. Come on, you Spurs. What did you reveal on the shelf side? What were you saying?
I revealed I revealed how I got kicked out of university.
Oh, because you went to Spurs versus Milan.
Exactly.
Great stuff. And obviously, if you watch our early vlogs, you can see the hooligan in Ben.
The hooligan. That's a bit far.
Hooligan. 100%.
Hooligan. Yeah. Am I starting fights with everyone?
Okay, maybe not hooligan, but what's the right word? I don't know. I think hooligan is the right word.
I don't think hooligan is the right word.
Mintu Lee says, guys...
I'm far from a hooligan.
Mintu Lee says, guys, just want to share that I picked up my post-grad degree last week. 2 days later, we smashed Villa. This season end is going to be great. Mark my words. Congratulations to you, Mintu Lee.
Big up, Mintu Lee.
Well done. Congratulations.
Big up, Mintu
and let's
Lee.
hope you keep that good positivity flowing into the end of the season.
Absolutely. All right. Mintu Lee saying, didn't know that side of Ben. There's many things you don't know, Mintu Lee.
Many sides.
Many sides of Ben that are yet to be revealed. But anyway, let's bring on our next guest, and that is Mikey.
Hey guys.
Mikey, did you have a good workout this morning?
Yeah, I did. Sorry,
Good.
I was cleaning up my dorm. I had to do a bunch of cleaning stuff, but yeah, I went out thinking it was like 17 degrees, and I got hit with 22-degree heat, so I had to change into the home shirt. So,
I see. Do you only have Tottenham wear in your drawer in your cupboard?
No, I've got other clubs as well. I've got like some Ajax shirts, some Dortmund ones, a couple of Barcelona.
Okay, so only football shirts then, is that it? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, pretty much. I've got football
Nice.
shirts. I mean, yeah, it's my aesthetic pretty much. No, we played amazingly against Villa first of all, and I'm really looking forward to us continuing that momentum into the Brighton game.
Yeah, you worried about Brighton a bit? You know, a bit of momentum behind them, having beaten Arsenal last week. Can't take this one too lightly, can we?
No, obviously not. No, I think if any Spurs, I think Conte's been drilling into our players every game from now till the end of the season should be treated as a cup final, because we are fighting for a top 4 place that we need to prioritize at all costs. Obviously, we haven't got anything else to prioritize, but it's the players can't get lax in their attitude. We can't let injuries to... Obviously, there's exceptions to injuries to keep. Like, if Kane and Son both get injured, then we're kind of screwed. But, like, an injury to a player like Doherty can't let us get... can't deter us on our goal to reach top 4. And Brighton is the next team in our path to that, because we've got to prove that we have the fighting spirit and the ability to push away teams that we should be beating. No disrespect to Brighton, but Spurs have always had that mantle of showing up in games when they have no chance of winning, and yet not being able to win the simpler games. So I'm glad that Conte's trying to get that message sort of out of our players and into a more sort of complete mindset where we can push on and win the games that we need to. And Brighton is the next step in that path. But I am worried about them. They do have some good players.
And yeah, talking about their good players, who are you most worried about in their team?
I think it's the same names that have been brought up already. Mwepu Bissouma. And Mwepu Bissouma, McAllister, and Trossard. Those are the 4 names that I'd sort of put in that hat,
And when you mentioned those 2 midfielders full of a lot of running, energy, aggressiveness, how do you think, if they pack that midfield with 3 men, how do you think our midfield will fare up against them?
Because of our front 3, we only end up playing 2 midfielders, and it means that we haven't been overrun as of yet, but I do think we have like players that can perform well under pressure, but sometimes you do have that risk of being overrun in midfield. And I'm worried that obviously Bentancur, Højbjerg, amazing players, amazing passers. Not Højbjerg, not so much, but Bentancur, silky player. But I am a little bit worried because the sheer energy, it's like having like 2 N'Golo Kantes. They're both sort of full of running, full of energy, and they're going to cause us problems. And especially if they pack that midfield with a 3rd man, not just Mwepu and Bissouma, maybe even a McAllister who can play there. That's sort of 2 sitting back and allowing McAllister to sort of push forward and join the attack. So it's definitely going to be a 3 at the back. They're definitely probably going to play sort of Lewis Dunk as that centre, as the focal point at defence. He's like our Eric Dyer almost, and then 2 other players alongside him. But I do think the system that Brighton play, the way they like to play, it's going to be a good game, definitely.
What's your opinion on Graham Potter? Why do you think they've struggled so much recently, from what you've seen?
Graham Potter is an interesting one, because I don't think he's done a good job at Brighton, but I think he has taken them as far as they can go. He needs to prove himself at a club that is then a level above Brighton, but not necessarily fighting for a European place. Like you guys said, an Everton, I don't think Sean Dyche. They got angry when they signed Rafa Benitez, who was a sort of more defensive-minded, experienced coach. So I'm not really sure how well they'd react to Sean Dyche. So I would definitely say Graham Potter could fill in an Everton where there's like more expectation than there is at Brighton, but less of you have to guarantee European football every season, and if you don't, it's considered a failure. So I think that would definitely be a step up in class for him. But he is a good young coach. He's probably the best English coach out there. Obviously, like debating Gareth Southgate, whatever your opinions are, and probably the best English league coach that there is. So yeah, that's.
You think he can be Gareth Southgate's successor?
Oh well, Graham Potter for England is not something that I'm ready to commit to just yet.
Yeah, but no one was ready to commit to Southgate for England either.
No, but at the time Southgate was under no pressure. There was no expectation, and now he's taken us to a semi-final and a final. I'm not the biggest fan of Gareth Southgate, but I'm not sort of one who says like he gets results when he needs to, and we went 120 minutes in Italy. We haven't lost a game in normal time since I think we played Belgium.
Yeah, in the Nations League, I think it was.
2020. So over a year, we haven't lost a game in normal time. So I think he has to take some credit for that. But enough about Southgate. I wanna mention something about Tottenham, and that's I haven't seen us on this kind of form in a long time. But the thing I'm noticing is when you watch the training videos that they put up, the Conte cam footage, the highlights. It's like I say this pretty much every time I come on here, but there's a real togetherness about this. There's a real togetherness about this Tottenham side that I haven't seen in a long, long time. They're fighting for Conte. Like, even when Aston Villa were roughing us up, Conte incited a reaction and they roughed them up back. Like, I think we actually committed more fouls in the game, number to number, than Aston Villa did.
Wow.
So, I think actually that stat might be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But still, I think
live on YouTube, mate.
Oh no, my legacy tarnished forever. No, I think the players are willing to do. The players are willing to do for Conte what they weren't willing to do for Nuno and for maybe even for Mourinho at times, and that's sort of, to quote Neil Warnock, you have to die to get 3 points. So I think they are definitely committed to this project, and they're definitely committed to Conte, that's for sure. But if we don't make top 4, and I say somehow because I'm fully expecting it now, I've gone past the point of hoping, I'm expecting it now. When we get top 4, it'll be a chance for Kane, because obviously reports coming out, even though it was in the Sun, and we know how reliable they are, I would still argue that by Kane's demeanour on the pitch, there was a report that says something like Kane's willing to commit his future. He's set to reject if Manchester United come calling. He's set to reject them because if Conte stays, he wants to become a Tottenham legend, and he sees a future in this project. So let's hope for all concerned that we don't slip up and get UEL or even UECL football next year, and we can hear a beautiful anthem playing in our stadium again.
Definitely.
Absolutely. All right, Mikey, before we let you go, what is your score prediction for tomorrow?
Score prediction. You guys have gone 5-0, 4-0, 3-0. I've been coming and eyeing for the last couple
decreasing in a goal every day.
So originally it would have been 1-0 at the beginning of the week, because I know how, after watching that Brighton performance, I know how resolute they can be. But as the days have gone on, I've slowly become. So I'm gonna go for the same as Ben. I'm gonna go for a 3-0. I'm not going to go for a Kane hat-trick. I actually don't think he'll get on the score sheet again this week. I think Conte's found a system where Kane dropping deeper and he has the runners off him. So I don't actually think Kane will get a goal. I'd love to see him get a goal, but I don't think he will. I'm going to go for a Son double. And, I'm going to go for a road shot. I'm going to go for Emerson Royale to score if he plays.
Love that. Love
Nice,
that.
Emerson.
Mikey, always a pleasure, my friend, and we'll see you next time.
All right, in a bit, guys. Come on,
Cheers,
you Spurs
mate.
as well.
Come
always.
Come on, you Spurs.
All right.
There's another super chat from Bobby, and he says, Ben Sim, top job, lads. I'm loving this journey we're on this season. The haters aren't laughing anymore. Come on, you Spurs.
Exactly.
I have to agree with that. And yeah, it has been quite a journey. It seems like a so long ago now that we had Nuno and all that stuff was going on, and Kane couldn't hit a barn door, and you know, since the beginning of the season we have had been through it all, but at the moment it all seems to be geared towards something, and at the moment it's something very positive.
Exactly, and let's not lose track and sight of what's at the end of the tunnel. But let's bring up our next guest, brand new guest to the channel, and his name goes by the name of Costa. Costa,
Hello,
how are
guys.
you doing? How you doing, mate?
Hello. I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good, thanks. Welcome to the channel.
Thank you.
Good to have you. Obviously, big game this weekend against Brighton. You confident going into it?
I am confident, apart from when I saw Brighton play Arsenal. But I think we should get a job done, because apart from Brighton's victory, they've been really poor. Surprisingly, because Graham Potter, I think he's a good manager. Because we were linked with him, isn't it, to bring him in? Yeah. Because, but obviously we've got Nuno, and then now we've got Conte, which I'm happy. And I think we should easily beat Brighton, personally, with our front three.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but Arsenal were probably feeling the same last week, weren't they? Because they just lost badly to Palace. I was thinking the perfect game for them was a home to a team who hadn't won in 7 games, lost 6 of them. But they came unstuck and quite badly. And is there a chance we could also make the same mistake of underestimating a decent side?
I think without Conte, I would have said we might have dropped points tomorrow. But with Conte, I feel like he's got that Spursiness out of Tottenham now. I'm hoping that we'll go there. And what did Conte say in his thing about having the blood of the opponent?
Yeah,
you must smell the blood of the opponents. Yeah,
and you have to kill them.
You have to taste the blood of the opponents or something.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. So that's why I feel like with Conte here, I feel like we'll go to Brighton, beat them.
Yeah, you're confident about that. And obviously Arsenal play a bit later on against Southampton.
Mm-hmm.
You reckon they'll be watching that game very closely against against Brighton? And if we do win, how will that affect them psychologically, do you think?
100%. I thought that it will affect them, because if we win, we go 6 points clear, and that will definitely make them fumble under pressure. Because when we beat, I think it was what was the game where we drew points against them, and then now we went top 4 because of goal difference, and they managed to fumble under pressure on that. And now, especially if we're going to be 6 points clear, then they will definitely fumble under pressure, especially at Southampton, which is a tough ground, because we even lost to them as well.
Yeah, you talking about when they lost to Crystal Palace?
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Yeah, so I mean, if we do go out and win convincingly against Brighton, then Arsenal do drop points. Is that top 4 done for you, or is there still a lot more work to do?
I think top 4 is done, but
it is done now. It's only 3 points.
Yeah, it's true, but because of the Spurs now, it's just different under Conte, because Conte, he's changed his team, the atmosphere. It's just, there's like a real bond. What Mikey said, there's a real bond in this team, and I think they'll get the job done. And I think United are also, because we'll be 9 points clear of them, and they've also got tough fixtures, and we've got the easier running, apart from Liverpool and maybe Leicester at home, and Brentford away. Eriksen.
Yeah,
you taking him? You taking him at Spurs?
100%. Especially for teams like, if we're going to come up against Burnley, even though Dyche is gone now, but like we always suffer against teams which play low block.
Yeah,
and that always drags us down and loses points for us. So hopefully, if we do sign Eriksen, he'll be able to break that, or just a playmaker off the bench.
Yeah,
yeah, it's definitely the kind of profile player we need, isn't it? It's not one we kind of have in the squad at the moment. There's talks of Eriksen. There's even talks over the past few days that Bale has signed a pre-contract. I know there's from the rumour mill, but is that one like Gareth Bale? Is that one you'd want at the club next season if it was a possibility?
I love Bale, but with Conte, there's no way he's accepting someone like not going to train like that, like not training with that much. Because I think Joe Hart said about Bale, he doesn't train hard, and Conte will never allow that. I would definitely accept him as a guy to come off the bench, because he's so good. The quality he has is for everything, passing, his physicality. He's still got a bit of pace too, his shooting as well. I would take him, but I don't think it'll happen. No.
All right, Costa. Let me know, what is your score prediction for the game tomorrow?
I'm saying 4-1.
4-1.
I think
All
we'll
right.
lead the goal.
Who's going to score for Spurs?
I don't think Kane's going to score again. I have a feeling he just won't score again, but he will assist. I think Son will get another hat trick.
Another hat trick. So he's gonna go level with Mo Salah this weekend, do you reckon?
Yep. And then Mo Salah will somehow lose a goal, and Romero will score.
You backing Son for the Golden Boot this season?
Yeah, I would love to see him win it.
Interesting. Do you reckon if Son does win the Golden Boot, he gets because if ever people would probably say is he the best winger in the league? With Salah there, Mane there, a lot of other players, even people might even say Sterling there and things like that. But if Son does go and win the Golden Boot, where does he then rank for you in terms of forwards in the Premier League?
I think, in terms of wingers, I think he'll be tight with Mo Salah, because even though Son hasn't been performing well, but his stats are always there, which is weird. He's been consistently scoring goals, so I think he will be up there with Salah as one of the best wingers, because I think he's better than Mane.
Definitely. All right,
Costa. Let's hope we do. The goals do fly in this weekend. 4 goals. I'd absolutely love to see. Thanks for coming on, mate, and hopefully we'll hear more of you soon.
Come on, you Spurs. Bye, guys.
Come on, you Spurs.
Cheers,
later,
Costa.
Mate.
That was Costa, brand new guest to the channel.
Iggy with a super chat here saying, "Hi lads, fans going OTT. Stay focused. Let's get 3 points."
OTT
over the top.
Yeah, I know, but we're not going OTT, are we?
Well, you're saying 5-0.
Yeah, but I'm saying 3-0 today.
Look, I think maybe he has a point. I'm sure we're going to turn up to the game tomorrow, and the game will start, and might be a bit of a tight game. But the thing is with Tottenham, even if we don't start well, you've seen as soon as we get into the flow of the game, as soon as the game is within our control, we usually go on to win convincingly, and hoping that could be the case tomorrow. And look, Brighton, I think Brighton are no mugs. I really believe that. I think they're a solid team, and if they're on their game, it looks like they're coming back into form now, then they are going to be a difficult game. But with our quality, you can't be anything but confident going into tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so nice to have a bit of confidence about us, because we haven't had that the whole season. And even after Conte, the start of this run, still we didn't have that confidence.
Yeah,
about
any
us.
game we could drop points,
literally. And now we're thinking we could go into any game and win it, which is just great. Which is great. But let's keep moving on with the guests. Next up is KPV. Yes, KPV. How you doing, brother?
Boy. I'm good, brother.
Lovely to see you, Kyle.
Yeah, well, as you can see, I'm out with some friends.
Lovely. Having a nice day, a day out in the sun on Good Friday.
Yeah, just went bowling, and a friend of mine named Sonny won 107, but I got 81, but not bad, eh? Top 4?
You're top 4, exactly. You're in the Champions League of bowling next season. Lovely.
Your friend's got a good name. He won your bowling. Is Heung-min Son going to win the Golden Boot?
Hell yeah! In the words of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oh, hell yeah!
Love that, Kyle. It's Good Friday today. Is it going to be a good Saturday tomorrow? What's your predictions?
It's going to be a good Friday there. The Saturday, Sunday, what? Yeah.
Go on, Kyle. Love it.
Yeah.
What's going to happen tomorrow? Go on. What's going to happen?
We've beaten Brighton twice already. We kept 1 clean sheet. That was at theirs in the league, and we beat them in the cup. But yeah, why can't we beat them in the league again? But beat them 3 times and do the treble over them, innit? Why can't we? They won at Arsenal, but they're not going to do a whole city like they did. They beat Arsenal at the Emirates, then they beat us at the Lane. So they're not going to do a whole city, are they?
No,
of course not. Of course not.
So is it a case of Brian? Thank you for the favour last week, but time for us to get the job done.
Yeah, time for us to get the job done and do the double over them. That'll be in the league. But I expect Harry Kane to score. I know he's been providing the goals, but it's time for him to go on a score sheet because he loves a goal against the Seagulls.
He does. Maybe he'll assist himself this weekend.
Maybe he'll assist himself. Like if there was another Harry Kane, I wish there was, but there's only one Harry Kane. But yeah, he'll assist. He'll assist himself. Yeah, but like we have the best front three. Like people just can't handle them.
Damn right. And
no one's going to handle this.
Yeah, they're playing very well at the moment, and Arsenal playing a bit after us after the Brighton game. Are they gonna get a result against Southampton?
Yeah, like Southampton. I know they lost 6-0 Chelsea at home, but I expect Southampton to win because obviously we're above the scum Arsenal, and they're gonna be. If we win tomorrow, then they'll be 6 points behind us.
Yeah.
Oh, is he gone?
Yeah, so hopefully Southampton can win tomorrow, but they're not. I'm here.
Yeah,
lad.
no, we can hear you, mate. We can hear you, mate.
We can hear you.
I'm here, lad. You there?
We're here.
We're here, Kyle.
Yeah, I thought you were gone for a second. Cause, yeah, I'm out. And yeah, and hopefully Southampton can win tomorrow because they've got Shea Adams from Birmingham, but hopefully they can win. They've got James Ward-Prowse, and yeah, they've got some tough players, but I expect Southampton to beat the scum tomorrow. But yeah, let's not rely on them losing. Just need to focus on what we're doing and get the 3 points. And then Brentford next weekend at 5:30. Like Ericsson probably get a good reception, and let's hope so. He might score, you never know. But yeah, let's beat these lot then. Roll on Brentford then. Yeah, but Sean Dyche just been sacked, I heard. What the hell?
Yeah, what's going on there? Are they going to go down now?
They've got 8 games left, and we only have 7 after this. They are a tough team. Let's not doubt that. But they beat us, but we still got to play them at home. So Kane and Son, let's hope Son can repeat that goal against Burnley like he did 2 seasons ago. Ran past the whole Burnley defence, and another Puskas award for him, eh? But yeah, it's all about this game tomorrow.
What's your score prediction, Carl? Score prediction?
Well, I heard Iggy saying he's going over the top, but I'm going to go one bigger. Let's go 6-0.
6-0. All right.
Love it, Kyle.
Come on, Carl. Come on, Carl.
I'll see you tomorrow after the game. Come on, you Spurs. And as always, Levy out.
Come on, Carl. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Big up, Kyle. Great cameo from Carl.
Let's keep going, guys. Do we have any more guests? Yeah. Ah, look who it is. It's the Resonator. Rez, you feeling better from yesterday?
Oh, he's on mute.
You're on mute.
I'm always doing that.
You're not the only one, don't worry.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fully recovered. No issues this morning.
Good.
Tell them, for people who don't know what happened, explain what exactly happened yesterday.
So the channel that I'm on, Shelfside Spurs Show.
Go subscribe, by the way.
Please, if you would, that would be lovely. I said that if we got above 300 subscribers, I said this a couple of weeks ago, I would eat a ridiculously hot tortilla chip live on stream and suffer a 5-minute afterburn. And we were very fortunate to myself and Nick to do the watch along against Villa. And Nick decided that would be an ideal time to basically try and bump our figures by telling everyone that if we got to 500 subscribers during the game, I'd do it live in your studio, which thankfully didn't happen because I don't know what would have happened to your studio had I done it. But we did break the 300 mark. So last night on our stream, I after your White Hart Memory Lane, Ben, and we're hoping to get Sim on soon to do his White Hart Memory Lane.
Sure.
did eat that tortilla chip and suffered the 5-minute afterburn, which is not an experience I'd care to repeat, but glad that I did it.
Now, I had a great time on your show last night, and if anyone does want to check it out, maybe someone can put the link in the live chat or something like that. But it was a great show last night, and I thoroughly enjoyed every second of it, especially seeing you. To be honest, there was a bit of me thinking like, oh, this is a bit too much, but no, but it was good fun last night, wasn't it? It really was.
It really was, and it was great to have you on, Ben.
Thank you.
As George said as well, the sort of rebellious side of you, being outlined was not a shock per se, because I always felt there was something rebelly about you there, Ben.
Rebel vibes.
But it was good to have that confirmed.
Well, we'll see what comes out from Simeon's one when he comes on to you. We'll see what comes out there. But no, it was good. But let's talk about the game. Obviously, a big game against Brighton tomorrow, 12:30. You got some confidence about you going into it?
Absolutely. I've been saying this. Bob's been saying this. It's time for us as Spurs fans to put it aside. We got to be confident. We have got one of the best managers in the world in charge. He has turned a group of misfits almost, into a cohesive machine. It's not complete, the job. It's still work to be done. But I always liken Spurs to a sort of broken down car, or up until recently. And we've now got the mechanic that has solved some of the more obvious issues and has got the thing running again. There's a lot more work to be done to make it into a high performance machine, but it's doing a lot better than it was. And if you look at our squad on paper, there's plenty of talent in there. The likes of Brighton, with all due respect to them,
Sorry about that, guys. We are back, and Rez was stopped mid-flow there. So
he was on a roll.
He was on a roll.
Shame.
He was about to say, with all due respects to Brighton, and let's see what he has to say on that. So let's bring Rez back on. Rez,
Oh, he's on mute again.
You're on mute again.
With all due respect to Brighton, no. Actually, that's not a bad launching point. With all due respect to Brighton, they're not a bad side. Graham Potter's a great manager, but we as Spurs fans need to believe that our club has more quality, is able to dispatch teams that are lower down the table. They're lower down the table at this point of the season for a reason. You know, we can do this, and we need to believe it. And we need to also believe that I'm going to move on to Arsenal now. Arsenal fans have been moaning and bitching about the fact that, you don't have injuries, as in Spurs. You don't have injuries. You don't have hard games to play, and that means that you're getting some kind of advantage. It's like, well, we've already played these teams. You know, we took 6 points off City. How many did you take this season? You know, it's the table at the end doesn't lie, and they're lower down the table for us, albeit with a game in hand, for a reason.
To be fair to Arsenal, Rez, though, they did have an unbelievable, proud display against Man City this season. And they showed us the blueprint and of how to beat Man City, didn't they?
Sure. But they didn't do it in the end, did they? You know, it's all well and good. It's like saying, I'm going to conquer the world, and then failing to do it.
Yeah.
You know, so my message to Spurs fans is believe, right? We're not there yet. We're not necessarily sort of challenging for trophies yet, but we will get there. But in the meantime, we've got a squad that seems to be coming together. There's a cohesion there. There's a togetherness there. When Sonny scored his third against Villa, you saw a load of players go up and celebrate with him and sort of with whoever it was that assisted. I can't remember if it was Kane on that one. It was Kulusevski, yeah. So, but then there was another angle that I saw where I saw our three central defenders all come together and give each other a big group hug. You know, there's real togetherness there, and that's a good sign. We've got to believe. Tomorrow is not going to necessarily be an easy game, but we have the quality, and we have the verve, and we have the drive, and we have the energy to beat Brighton and stamp our claim to fourth place. Obviously, a few games still to go, but we can do it.
But obviously, Brighton beat Arsenal last week, didn't they, at the Emirates? And Arsenal would have got into that game, you know, thinking it was a brilliant. What better team than a team that's lost 6 and drawn 7 their last and drawn 1 of their last 7 games to face just after a damaging defeat to Palace. But obviously, they got turned over. But how do we go about avoiding that kind of outcome in this game? Seeing as Arsenal would have been super confident, probably going to that game as well, then they're going to turn over Brighton.
I would disagree with the idea that Arsenal were confident. I think that following that really bruising defeat against Crystal Palace, which was a joy to watch, by the way, they would have had what we've had so often in the past, that brittleness, that feeling that things are just, you know, the rub of the green is not going their way. And then when Brighton got their first goal, I think it would have started preying on their minds, because you've got to remember that Arsenal side is still relatively young. There's not a lot of experience and grit in with them. I mean, you know, they've got their sort of aggressiveness, if you like, with the likes of Granit Xhaka, who's probably their most experienced player, but losing the likes of Aubameyang, who was their captain, who would have brought possibly some steel and some encouragement to the younger members of the squad, that's missing, and they've not got the experience. They're green, they're not seasoned yet. Whereas even the likes of Kulusevski, who's 21, you know, he's got experience that most of the Arsenal squad don't have. We've got Bentancur in there. We've got Højbjerg, who's a real battler. And these are players in their mid-20s, not Kulusevski, obviously. Dyer is in his mid-20s. Lloris is captain of France. There's experience in there that can be brought to bear. And I think Conte is tapping into that because he's an experienced manager. He knows how to get that. Arteta doesn't.
Yeah.
Fair enough. It's fair. And do you think they'll be watching our game? And, because we kick off, the early kick-off, obviously Arsenal play a bit later. And if we do dispatch of Brighton in a comprehensive way, will that demoralise Arsenal even further going into their game against Southampton, do you think?
If I was to speculate, I would imagine so, although there may be the aspect of the wish being the father of the thought there. But I can see that happening because, again, it's like when it comes to the crunch, what resources do Arsenal have to draw on to be able to get over that hump, to get over that blockage, to sort of think past that obstacle? Because psychology is so important in sport generally. And so they will have seen us, say, for instance, get a result against Brighton. They will look at the table if they're allowed to and see Spurs are 6 points ahead. So whatever happens today, we're not going to be able to catch them or overtake them, which would be the case anyway, even if we lost because of the goal difference. And that can present a psychological obstacle. Do they have the gumption? Do they have the steel to be able to go over that in the same way that in the past we haven't, which we seem now to be able to do? I don't know how consistently we can do it because we've only had a couple of games in which we can show that. But do they have it? And I don't see evidence of it. They might do, but I've not seen any evidence that they do.
And if it does play out like that and we do win and Arsenal do drop points, do you think it's more or less done after that?
I think it's more or less done now. I'm certain. And do you know what? A lot of people say, well, Spurs have let you down so often in the past. And that's absolutely true. And that's absolutely valid. It's a question of faith for me now, rather than think. I've spent a lot of time allowing my head to rule my heart and saying, oh, Spurs always let us down. We've got all the evidence of the past to show that. And that's, as I say, absolutely true, absolutely valid. But I'm believing that we're going to get fourth. And if we don't, I will live with the pain. I will accept the pain that we didn't do it. But in the meantime, I want to believe, and so I'm going to.
All right, big up.
Praying at the altar of Antonio Conte, it sounds like.
Exactly.
On Good Friday.
You don't see it.
What's your score prediction going into the game tomorrow?
I'm doing a Bobby, and it's 4-1.
4-1. Who's going to get on the score sheet?
It's going to be Sane. It's going to be Sane. Son hat-trick.
Wow,
another Son hat-trick.
And he's going to equal Salah's record or his tally this weekend. And I reckon the other one is going to be Kulu.
And if Son, if he equals Salah's record or tally, as you say, will he go on to win the Golden Boot, do you reckon?
Yes.
Wow. Because it has dried up for Salah recently, hasn't it?
Yeah. Salah, they've got 6 games left, is it? 6, 7 games, something like that. Salah might score a few more, but Sonny's on fire. He is that. There's been, as you know, there's been massive debate over Son this season, and you've got stats that demonstrate that he's having a very good season. But then the eye test suggests not that he's having a bad season, but that things aren't quite right. But recently, that seems to have dissipated, and he seems to be performing at the same levels that we've seen previously, where he's really on it, really confident, and that smile is back on his face when he plays. I think Son can do it. I think Son is going to do it, and this is going to be his best season when it comes to goals this season.
Already is, yeah.
Already is, yeah, absolutely, already is.
Yeah. All right, big up, Rez. Great to have you on. I hope your tongue is, soothed. But yeah, great fun last night and great to have you on today. So we'll see you next time.
Brilliant. Thanks for coming on. Take care.
See you, Rez.
No problem.
Nice to see you, man.
Bye-bye.
Big up, Rez.
A bit of injury news coming out of Arsenal.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing too major. But Arteta's been speaking on Partey's injury, saying that it's not good news and he can't be sure whether he will feature again this season. So it sounds like he most probably is going to be out for the season. Thomas Partey, by the sounds of things. Don't look too happy. Come on.
what a shame, eh? What a shame. Anyway, let's move on and let's go to the Joricle. He promised us he would come on the show today, and here he is. Jory, how are we doing, brother?
I'm great, guys. Now I'm really, it's really become a thing for me. I drove into work just to be able to make this call, you know, because I don't want the streak to end, you know, and I'm convinced I need to do the pre-game call to keep the streak going, right?
Right,
Yeah.
just like Spurs need to carry on with their momentum, so does Jory. I think
Exactly.
that's most important.
Exactly. How confident are you going into the game this weekend? I mean, I know you've been very confident the last few weeks. Does Brighton's victory against Arsenal change anything for you?
No, not really. I mean, I'm quite confident. It's kind of a weird confidence. I think we all kind of, all of us that kind of are trying to get into the role of being confident, which is difficult for us after all these years of pain. We have this confidence which we're really not settling completely into, but
unconfident confidence.
Yeah, exactly, something like like eerie confidence. You know, it's like a weird combination. But like I said last time, and I think Res touched on it as well. And by the way, I have to give a shout out to Res. It was a great hosting he did when he hosted for you guys.
He's
really
brilliant,
good.
Res, isn't he?
Yeah, very good. I really enjoyed that. But like Res touched on as well, I think, and I talked about it last time, I think what we need to do, and I think many of us are doing it, is we need to try and get out of this reactionary mode now that it's on the upside, now that it's a positive thing. We need to try and just look at the evidence, and the evidence tells us we should be confident. We should be going in to this game full of belief, full of confidence, full of basically our underlying demand of a victory and a convincing victory, you know. And this is how we need to, as a fan base, we need to follow what's going on with our squad. You know, that's what the squad is also doing. I think like like Son touched brilliantly on it. I think it was last game after the hat trick. He said, "I don't want to be too happy about this. I want to enjoy it, but I don't want it like we don't want these emotions to be influencing too much what we're doing here. We have a project, we have a task at hand, and that's what we're focused on, you know. And you know, being completely delirious, joyful over victory, over goals, whatever, is the flip side of, you know, being Spursy, negative, you know, overreacting in a negative way and so on. So and this is also, Conte started very early talking about it. He didn't want this up and down and emotion and stuff like that. And that's what we're seeing. And so I think we as fans, we should try and follow suit, follow what Conte is saying, follow what the squad is doing. And once you stack it up, you know, we're really outgunning this squad man for man. You know, there's very few positions where you would choose a Brighton player over a Spurs player, I think. So definitely, you know. And I think also, and you guys can maybe fill in on this, but I think in general, you know, what Conte, the confidence that we're seeing out of Conte is that he knows his machine is purring now. He knows the Conte machine is going now, you know. And once Conte knows something like that, Conte is a guy that leaves nothing to chance. Nothing, like if he sees the slightest weakness, he's gonna be on it, working on it. He's gonna be complaining about it, so on and so on. and that's not what we're getting from Conte. So Conte is happy. So that makes me happy, So,
definitely. Do you think last week's result for Brighton serves as a warning for Tottenham of what could happen if we don't, if we take our eye off the ball?
I think the biggest warning for us was the first half of last game. That was our slip up, really. That's when we kind of a little bit reverted back to old ways. We got away with it. Conte completely fixed the head, fixed the tactics, fixed everything in the halftime. We came out and the Conte machine was on. The level of squad, or especially maybe the level of the midfield going forward. I mean, no disrespect to our defense, but once that midfield and forward starts ticking in that Conte way, it's almost impossible to stop those guys. So. I actually would say right now it's impossible. Once they click, it's impossible to stop them. It's just a question: is it going to be 2-0 or 5-0?
Wow.
So I think definitely. I think actually the fact that Brighton won that game and won in the manner that they did is going to help us in this game. They're gonna go for a similar recipe, which is what we want. We want teams to come at us. And they're not up against Arsenal. They're not up against, like I said, they're up against Son and Kane. So that's gonna hurt them for sure. But I don't think. I mean, I think Potter understands this, but I don't think he has more of a choice in sitting back. I mean, it would be the better tactic for sure, to try and sit back and just compact the area. But we've also shown that you're not going to get away with a point that way either. We are eventually going to break down because we are playing great possession football as well. So we do eventually wear down those defenses, which we didn't do just recently. We weren't that good at keeping the possession. We gave too many opportunities for counters and stuff like that, So I think Potter will probably simply also, they've got nothing, they're not they're not gonna win any spot, and they're not gonna go in relegation zone. So I think he will probably concentrate on them doing their thing, and that's gonna be coming at us a little bit, So it's gonna be interesting. I think maybe what I'm the most worried about from Brighton is probably Bissouma and the midfield. If they can, because they're really strong. I think when Bissouma has a good game, they really can be strong there. So in that respect, I kind of expect Kane to drop again. Even though I'm very much missing, I really am longing for some Kane goals now. But I can see Kane helping out with the middle and helping out with both defensively, but also in terms of hold up on the middle and of course the amazing assist that he's been playing. Putting De Bruyne to shame. I think he's unbelievable with the assist these days. So I think the fact that Brighton did a job and Arsenal can only help us actually. So,
in terms of the starting lineup, Jory, a few question marks: right wing back and left wing back. Do you persist with Emerson on the right?
I think for sure. I think Emerson's going to start, and I think I said it last time. I think we're going to see a lot of improvement from Emerson now. I think we're already going to see it now. I got money on him on the first goal, to be honest. So
Emerson.
yeah. So I think I think now we're into a period where the main structure of the team is working. It's fine. Conte really doesn't need to work that much on it, which means that every little off thing, everything that's not an A+, he can really go and concentrate on that and give that extra love. I mentioned it with Hugo Lloris. I said, like, he was showing a lot of insecurity in goal, and I expected him to have a better game last game, and boy did he certainly did that, you know. So this is the same I expect from Emerson. I think Conte will make Emerson give him extra time, extra love, and really give him the guidance he needs here. I think we'll see some interchanging in terms of going forward between Emerson and Romero. I think Romero will sometimes overlap him and kind of take that role on, and Emerson will drop deep. I think it also has a lot to do with what kind of a press we're getting on to us, you know, because, you know, to be honest, if you guys watch back the last goal from the last game, Emerson was not only that goal wasn't anything without Emerson's play there. He really had a big part in that, in starting that attack, you know. So it's there, you know. And I've always said, I've always had the belief that Emerson is quite a good player. He's very young. He's a La Liga right back, you know. That's you know, going from a La Liga right back into a Premier League wing back it's a huge thing, you know. And the fact that Conte has been able to do it this well with the squad has everything to do with Conte, and everything to do with the willingness of the players to learn. The fact that one of our youngest guys, one of our newest guys is lagging behind a little bit in that regard, you know, that just shows, that says more about the quality of work being done with the rest of the squad, you know. So I really, but I really think that Emerson will never, you know, he will never be as good as, for example, Doherty going forward. He doesn't have that kind of attacking positional awareness.
Is that something that can be coached into you, though?
It can be improved, but I think, like for Doherty, that was actually the core quality that Doherty had in him, which was then not really, absolutely not utilized under Nuno. Got dormant in his whole period here, and Conte kind of revitalized that quality in him. So I think we'll see something different, definitely, from Emerson, but we will see him definitely be better. But I do think we'll still see Emerson delivering the ball to Kulu making the crosses and so on instead, you know, because it's better that way. It's fine that way. Kulu is a running beast, you know. He's averaging 14 kilometers a game and so on, you know. So he will be there to do that work, you know. So I don't expect Emerson to all of a sudden become a world-class wing back, but I do expect the liability, the nervousness, and all of that will go away from his game, you know. I'm sure of that. I think also maybe we might start seeing some 3-5-2 games as well. I don't think this one, but I think towards the end of the season we might start seeing Conte play around with that a little bit.
I mean, if we are to move to a 3-5-2, who are we going to beef up the midfield with? Because we need an extra man, and we don't want Winks in there, surely.
Well, you know, I actually think that Conte might exactly work with Winks and give them the chance. That's why the players love Conte, is because Conte will give you the chance. He will take the risk with you if you show what he needs to see from you, you know. So, but I mean, for us fans, we just want to, you know, blow it all away as soon as possible. And I don't think we'll see it if it's in the balance. I think if we get it settled, if we keep going like this, it's only going to be like 2 or 3 or 4 games, and it'll be in the bag, you know. And then we can start, you know, giving other players a little bit of a chance to prove their worth and try other systems and stuff like that. Because I definitely think for the next season we're gonna have to be top at both these systems, you know. So and in terms of the rumors with Martinez and stuff like that, I mean, I think that's it might be because of a 3-5-2 and so on, but I think it's also more to do with doing these multiple campaigns now on the highest level, that we'll need the quality. Kane won't be able to do both, Son won't be able to do all of it, so on, we'll need on par quality players to come in and help us with these campaigns, and it's good to see that the rumors are going around these types of play, but we've seen it so many times with Levy as well, so I won't get ahead of myself with that. But I'm hopeful with all of it. To be honest, I'm struggling to find a negative thread in my bones these days, So,
love that way of thinking, Jory. Absolutely love it. Just before we let you go, what is your score prediction tomorrow?
So I'm not going to break tradition. It's important to keep the streak going, So my usual bet is to go one shy of whatever Kyle is saying. He said 6, so I'm going to go with 5.
All right. Absolutely love that. Who's going to get on the score sheet?
So Emerson is going to get the first goal. I think we're going to get 2 from Kane. He's going to be one shy of a hat trick. So then we're up to 3. So let's say Kulu and Son for the other 2.
And on Son, do you think that he can win the Golden Boot this season?
Definitely. I think Son. I think Son. This is a little bit of the dynamic that, and I think it's young men, ambitious men and stuff. And I'm not trying to be negative. I absolutely adore what I'm seeing from Kane. I think Kane is probably our most selfless player in the squad at this moment, and I think all of them are there, but I think Kane is leading by example. But I think there's always been this dynamic: Kane number 1, Son number 2, whatever. And I think Conte now is also making, and it's not necessarily from Kane. I think it might just be in Son's head as well, And I think Conte is working with Son in terms of now you just go all out. Don't think about these things. Don't think about you should be giving an assist here or whatever. You just go full beast mode. Don't worry about Kane. He will chase you the best he can and so on, So I think Son is going to go full beast mode out this season now. And I think, Salah is very unhappy. So I think actually Son is gonna catch up to him and overtake him. Yeah.
All right. Big up, Jory. Always good to hear the positive views.
Nice one, Jory.
And, if you heard the Hugo Lloris prediction last week, you better get your money on Emerson this weekend to score first. But obviously, please do gamble responsibly and don't suffer bet regret.
Definitely. But there's some good odds on that, that's for sure. So
Big up, Jory. Thanks for coming on, mate. And we'll see you soon.
See you in a bit.
Yeah, guys. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on. All right. Anyone else? No, that is it. So, big mammoth preview stream, 2.5 hours, guys. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. Stay tuned for the predicted lineup because that will be coming out at some point today as well. So, thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.